how to get better at art or jewelry, whatever you do creatively. How do you get better? Do more of it. It's not quality, it's quantity. Wait, record scratch. Wait, what? It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how you try to be better. It just matters that you make more stuff. That sounds wrong. But that's exactly what you need to do. When you typically sit down to make a piece, how many do you make? 1? Make 3. Do you make 5 pieces? Make 10. Do you make 12? Make 23. Take your best pieces and put them for your normal price when you go to your next show. Take the half that are your worst pieces and put them on a separate display and charge less than half for them. Pieces that you think are so crappy that you didn't want to sell them at all because they were just, as you were making many, many pieces, they were the ones that didn't turn out as good. After your show, or after several shows, if they don't sell, give those crappy pieces away as gifts to your friends and family. Not as a birthday or Christmas gift, because you want to give them nice pieces for that kind of thing. Just out of the blue, just as a surprise. Just, hey, I wanted to give you this. You see them as crappy pieces. Most people will see them as pieces that they couldn't even make if they tried, because that's not their strength. And they will see it as a gift out of the blue, and they'll be super grateful. And you'll also surprise yourself. You'll find the pieces you think are really ugly. A week later, you'll look at them and be like, no, they're kind of funky, they're kind of cool. So do more, but it goes deeper than that. Trying so hard, this is something so many artists do, and I saw one artist struggle with this so badly, it stuck with me forever. She was not good at what she was doing. She was not a good painter. She was painting a painting, but she was obsessing over whether or not to use light orange or dark orange on a particular circle of this abstract painting. She was obsessing over whether to make a line 1 millimeter thick or 2 millimeters thick. And she kept going back and repainting and then shaking her head and then doing it again. And she spent like 2 hours on this one painting. And I looked at her and I said, this was in a workshop, and I said, how do you feel about that? What's going on? Like, are you okay? And she's like, no, I always do this to myself. Like, I get really upset when I can't get it just right. That stuck in me. And I vowed to go the opposite direction, 100 miles per hour. When I started working on paintings, knowing that I didn't have a lot of experience in painting, I put out 10 paintings in a night, fast as I possibly could. Some of them were half finished, I just moved on to the next. Some of them were weird, some of them were messed up. I just kept going and going and going. And then when I look back, 5 of them were pretty cool, and 5 of them were like, kind of crappy. But I put them all of them, in my shows. And it blew my mind every single time the crappiest ones in my mind would sell. Now, I put them for a much lower price, but it didn't matter. People really were drawn to certain ones because art is so funny like that. I mean, you can see quality from non-quality. I'm not one of those people who believes that everything is automatically equally beautiful. There is a skill like anything else, like riding a bike, like playing a piano. There is a skill that gets better as you work on it. But there's also billions of people in the world who all see things differently. And to one person, a tiny little curve like this just hits them a certain way, and it gets in their psyche and it resonates, and they want to keep seeing that beautiful little curve on their wall, or that one little simple thing with one little bead that you make. And so you think it's boring or it's crappy or whatever, but they don't. And obsessing over making everything perfect. In that same time, you could have made 10 pieces. And the irony is that by doing it over and over, you get better much faster than trying to make the first piece perfect in your brain. Because the reality is that perfect is an illusion. There is no perfect. When you think you've reached perfect, your brain will shift and you'll see more flaws in it that you never imagined. Perfect is like chasing the wind. It'll never happen. So instead of making one attempted perfect piece, make 10 disastrous, creative, fun adventures. Just throw yourself onto the canvas. Just throw yourself into the beads and into the wire and whatever you're using, the wood, the stones, and knock out a whole bunch of crap. And take the half that are the best and make them your, what you present to people. Take the other half, put them next to them. You'd be surprised. You're selling your pieces for 25, 30. Take the half that you think are not even worth putting out and just put them on a separate display for 10. All the people who can't afford the 25 and 30 are gonna end up buying some of those $10 ones because it's handmade and it's cool, and now they get to own a piece, and they don't see that little curve that was messed up the way you see it. They just see it, a handmade piece that they would never know how to make. Super cool. So that's it. Quantity. Quantity creates quality. There's a big thing going around over the last 10 years. This psychologist discovered or, came up with this thing, and it's been proven by many, many other people. Many other social scientists quote him now. And it's basically like, to become an expert in anything, you need to put 10,000 hours in. 10,000 hours. And for most people, the way they practice, if they put a serious effort in, it takes about 10 years to put 10,000 hours into something. I wasn't thinking that when I started doing art full-time as a living, but it's been about 10 years I've been doing it. And I don't consider myself an expert in anything that I do, but I consider myself proficient enough that I'm confident, and I'm really don't have any fear. If you told me like somebody has kidnapped you and they're gonna force you to do art for the next 10 hours, I'd be like, okay. They're gonna force you to do art for the next 7 days straight, 14 hours a day. Okay. It doesn't bother me. It's like I could do it in my sleep at this point, to the level that makes me feel good about what I produce. Am I trying to get better at everything? Totally. But when I have an off week and I don't have time to put into getting better, I just do what I do and I feel good about it. And I'd rather put out 10 pieces that are pretty cool than one piece that I think is perfect. Now, if I'm innovating and I come up with a piece that's something different that I've never done before, yeah, that one piece is more exciting than 10 normal pieces. But I got to that innovation by constantly doing hundreds of pieces, not by obsessing and worrying and criticizing myself and judging my pieces. So anyway, let me know if this helps. Let me know if you've been thinking the same thing. Let me know if you learned this lesson too. Let me know if you notice other artists falling into this and you have escaped it yourself. I'm interested in hearing all of it. Have an awesome day, guys.